Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the January 17th, 2024 Abington Finance Committee meeting. We are continuing our series of meetings with department heads going over the proposed FY25 budget. Tonight, we have the Council on Aging and the Treasurer Collector here to speak with us. And then we'll go over liaison reports, correspondence, which I didn't check, and we'll discuss the schedule for future meetings, which I don't know, and Andrew will have to put up on the board. But we're going to jump right into it as we're getting off to a tiny bit of a late start. And so I will invite Amy Barrett of the Council on Aging.
Okay, thank you. You want me to sit right here?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Welcome back, Amy.
Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody.
You too.
Thank you.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm Amy Barrett. I don't know if I've met everybody. Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Nice to meet you. I'm not sure if we've met.
Hello.
Hi. So, actually just move this back a little bit. So I'm just going to start with my mission statement.
Yep.
We'll go through some of my achievements, goals.
Sounds good.
Then we'll go right into the other stuff.
Perfect.
That other stuff. The mission, safeguarding and promoting the independence, mental and physical health of our seniors, as well as making sure they are aging well in a supportive and energetic environment, which, I mean, we're doing. They're loving it down there. We're having a good time, and they're all loving it. So some of the achievements for this year, our newsletter has increased from 8 to 12 pages, which actually sounds little, but it's a really big deal because we are doing a lot more activities. We're offering the seniors much more. And we are distributing it via email, online. We're mailing it to seniors that actually can't get it online. We stopped mailing out 2,500 of them because it just wasn't financially manageable anymore. So we're trying to hit a lot more people with email and such, but anybody that asks for it, we'll mail it. We've added retail shopping, and the senior van is full and running every single day. We did receive a grant for the heat pump system and the generator, the full building generator. This fall was installed, and it's up and running. So now we have full heating, cooling station, and electricity all the time, if there were ever an event. More in-house events. So this in-house event thing, we've been trying to have a lot more events at the senior center this year, because what we actually realized is for the cost of a luxury bus to take 50 people off the property to go on a trip somewhere, we can have almost 200 seniors in the building for a party with food, all the bells and whistles, and we can do that 4 times a year for what it costs to take a bus off the property, which is amazing if we're servicing that many more
That's
people.
great.
And we want them in the building. We definitely want them in the building. We've added fitness and recreational group classes, and we actually have now a media room. We got Wi-Fi and new laptops, and we have instruction and classes and things going on down there, which was one of our goals for last year, so we hit it. We have a full technology room, which is super exciting. And I also left a couple of pages of information with everybody, just so that you can see the numbers and the way that it's climbing up there. They're stapled together. We highlighted. We have almost 500 new consumers that have never been in our building. From last January to this January, almost 500 people that have never been in the building before. And we went from approximately 3,800 check-ins in 2022 to this past year, we had over 12,000 check-ins, which is amazing. It's just, it's monumental. So we're super excited about that. I was able to help 154 Medicare clients this year. Last year, I think I had about 170, so we're a couple people down, but I also had some support from the state that a girl came in every Monday to help out with Medicare. So we were right on target. I think we helped about the same amount of people, so that's really great. We had a couple of bus trips. We went to the Newport Flower Show, and we went on a foliage trip. Each time about 50 people. We had one bus that went, and we took about 50 people. And My Senior Center, which is something that I talked about last year, but these statistics that you have, all of that is collected with My Senior Center. It's a check-in device in the front of the building. Everybody that comes, we give them a little fob. They check in every time they come, so we know who's coming for lunches, who's coming for classes, who likes to work out, who likes to, just enjoy some social time. So it's been really helpful, and what's great about this is this provides critical information to the Executive Office of Elder Affairs and the Massachusetts Council on Aging on our numbers, on our demographic. Everything that happens there, now it automatically gets reported to these governing bodies, which is great, because we have to do reports and such every year, so it's just helpful for that. And we have also developed a nice multi-generational relationship with high school kids, with some kids from the Cardinal Cushing School. We've seen a real change in our consumers with the multi-generational component. They've been really nurturing to the kids coming from the Cardinal Cushing Center, and they've really enjoyed having the high school kids in for different activities, and they came to help out with our giving tree, so it's been really just perfect for everybody, I think. Plus, nice having the kids in to kind of work with the seniors. It's really important that they don't usually get to help out because our hours are not conducive to the high school kids, so that's been terrific. So I guess some of our goals for this year would be that we want to be more inclusive to the under 65 disabled population. We'd like to be work more closely with the high school kids. We'd like to have more programs. We'd like to have them come down for technology. We've already been working with the teachers at school and with some of the other programs that they have for service days and such, local high schools with the kids coming in. So that's been really important. And obviously, we'd like to have the staff have more hours so that they can focus on the day-to-day operation of the ever-growing population down there at the senior center. And one of the things that we were hoping for was to get new chairs for our building. They are fabric chairs. They're not very sanitary. They're not helpful for people that don't ambulate well. There are no arms on them. So we're hoping to get about 200 new chairs for the building. We looked into having the ones that we have upholstered, and they said they couldn't do them. We only checked with one company, but they said they weren't positive that they could actually do it.
Still wouldn't put arms on them.
They wouldn't put arms on the chair, so we did try. So we did look into a couple of different things. So, and we applied for a grant. It's not on here, but we did apply for a grant for a new van from the Massachusetts Transit Authority, a 14-passenger handicap accessible van, which would be really helpful for us to get another van up and running. Ours did just pass inspection, so that was really great. Today, in fact, so it passed inspection, but this would help with all the other things that we have going on. It'd just help us.
Plus, we do have an earmark, too.
Yeah, Allison, yep.
It was $25,000, unfortunately, with the cuts recently. It's now $12,500, but that's to go towards probably keeping this van alive at this point.
Keeping this van alive, and also from what I understand, from what I read when we applied for the grant, that the van comes kind of super basic. We get, the van, but if we want anything electronic in it, if we need
Seatbelts are extra.
Seatbelts are extra. So things like that. We need to, anything power. And we also are going to need some training for the handicap accessible part of this van. So we do have a little bit of training money in the operating budget, but, it'll go towards all that.
Go ahead.
No. I was just, on the van, were you having an issue with the driver last year, from what we recall, for additional hours, or you couldn't find someone?
No, Michelle is driving the van. She
Okay.
has, she works 29 hours a week, so she's got exactly what we need.
Okay.
It's running every single day. We just added more activities, more shopping, more social shopping. I think the issue we were having was with the person at the front desk. We hired somebody at the front desk to do medical appointments and scheduling that transportation.
Oh, okay.
That was a little bit of it, yeah. Yeah, but we have somebody there now, so.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
How old is the current van? How many miles?
It's got 80,000 miles on it. And of course, they're 80,000 miles right here. So it's,
So those are like dog miles.
it's like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's.
The Route
it's-
18 wasn't that good
Yeah.
for a long time.
Yeah, so, I mean, we take really good care of it, and we put new tires on it all the time, and we get it checked all the time. And it passed inspection, so it's aging out. The handicap accessible part is not working. And so, having that is gonna be, that we really need that. Yeah, we need that, so.
Yeah, the vehicle's a lifeline for
Yeah,
a
it-
lot of the seniors, so.
We were talking about that today. I know it doesn't sound like a large number, but there are 10 people that would never get out of their house if it wasn't for Michelle Titonia. They wouldn't leave their home. She,
We all love Michelle.
we all love Michelle. I mean, let's be honest. She's grand. So, I mean, it really is. For people, there are a lot of people that rely on that transportation, and having a 14-passenger instead of 12, we're so limited. So if we could use it and use it and use it while it's safe and get another van, that would be
That would be
optimal. Yeah, it'd be incredible.
Yeah, and then I think at that point, we still keep this one, maintain it, and have
Yeah.
it as a backup or.
Sure, yep, we could just do more, so,
Yep.
yeah. And so that would be, those are the goals, and, which part do you want to talk about next?
So let's head into the budget. Let's look at, start with salaries, I guess.
Okay, so the salaries, it's not complicated, but part of the salaries are stipend with the formula grant, which we talked a little bit about the reporting with my senior center. All of the formula grant is contingent on what we report, what we use, what our senior population is, and the census. It's based on, it's a 10-year run on the census. So right now, we're getting funded on the 2020 census, which puts us, I believe it's like 4,120 over 60 in this community. We get X amount per senior. It was 12, it just went up to 14, and that actually was part of the budget that did not get cut. So we're still guaranteed that for right now, everything, and we get that through 2032 based on that. So what I'm looking for, so I also, last year, I'm not sure who was here last year, but last year I had the job for, I feel like a minute when I came
Yes.
in to do this. I'm a
You were-
Medicare specialist.
You were brand new.
Brand new, hours, I feel. And so, I didn't have a lot of knowledge of the day-to-day things. What I anticipated was that I'd take over Suzanne's role, Robin would take over my role, and Cheryl would take over the role at the desk. But what has happened is I want to stay in a Medicare position and the director position there, because Robin doesn't have the time to train to do it. I've been doing it for 10 years. I love
It's
it.
a lot of knowledge.
Right, and Robin, when she started a year ago, was doing the billing and the newsletter and all of literally, we work together on everything. So I have Robin in as assistant to the director. Michelle is the van driver, and she's doing the other Meals on Wheels. She does all the money, she does all the congregate lunch money, she does all the reporting to Old Colony. So Charlene, that does Meals on Wheels, she has a 15-hour position that's funded solely on the formula grant. And 15 hours is plenty to do the work that she's doing in the morning with Michelle picking up the rest of what she's doing. And then, of course, Richie, as the custodian and chef, we all know what he's doing down there. He's making magic every day because he also is amazing. And then Cheryl is transportation and clerical admin. She's at the front desk. She is organizing and scheduling all the rides for medical appointments, social appointments. She does everything with the Brockton Transit Authority. She does all of that scheduling at the front desk. So I would like to see, so if you notice, it says the FY25 rate from the general fund And what they're getting right now from the formula grant, we have the formula grant that they have a stipend from. So I would like to see the FY '25 total rate that includes the formula grant. So I'd like to see Robin at 21. I put myself in at 45. I had a 2% raise, I think, from July.
You forgot to give yourself last year.
That I didn't give myself last year, so.
We fixed it.
Michelle is gonna stay at 25. Richie, I'd like to see go to 19.25, and Cheryl, I'd like to see go to 18, and that is with their formula grant stipend. The bigger thing is I would like them to have 29 hours.
And where are they now?
Yeah.
They're at 19, Cheryl's at 19, Robin's at 19, Richie's at 25, Michelle's at 29. I'd like to see Richie go to 29 hours, I would like to see Cheryl go to 29 hours, and I would like to see Robin go to 29 hours. Charlene's gonna stay at 15 hours because she comes in and packs the Meals on Wheels, and she does all of the morning time, so 15 hours is plenty, like I said, especially with Michelle managing the whole financial part of, and the reporting. So I know that's, yeah.
So how many people are going from 19 to 29?
2 people are going from 19 and a half to 29,
Yeah,
or I'd like to see them go
Yeah.
from 19 and a half to 29.
yeah,
And I would like Richie Thetonia to go from 25 to 29.
so
He,
it's the 19 to 29.
I understand, yeah.
Because of benefits.
So Richie specifically, he's going from 25 to 29.
Yes.
Why 29? That seems like a really odd.
So that's about the number, I stay there 4 days a week, you know, till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That brings them from an 8:30 to 2:30 day. We're open from 9 to 2. So it gives them a little time in the morning, a little time in the afternoon. I don't know,
I mean, is that is a operational
well,
desire,
right
not a
now,
financial one? Okay, it's just like in for a penny, in for a pound, that like, there's not a massive difference between 29 and 32.
right, so
What-
that's I'm there after hours, several days a week, so, yeah, I think that.
And Richie is currently at,
What's
I hate
the
using names, the
line
custodian chef
for-
is still at,
Benefits.
right now,
Full-time.
at 25.
20.
Yes,
Yeah, so
Okay,
there's
so
only
there's already a
two
full-time
of those
employee.
positions.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah. And so Michelle is at 29 hours, well, so the van driver is at 29 hours, and he drops her off early for work.
Mhm.
And, yeah, so that way also.
So you're only adding 4 hours to the custodian shift?
Yes,
Okay, gotcha.
yeah. And Cheryl on at the desk, she's only there till noontime. So we are all trying to cover the desk to answer phones to make sure we don't miss any rides.
So from noon to 2:30-ish, there is a gap.
Mhm.
That service is not being adequately rendered for 8 hours to 9.5 hours a week.
Mhm. And we just want to, we feel, and they're all staying extra hours, everybody's working more, but my biggest thing is the amount of time that they're spending in that building, how hard they work. We're all making this happen, we're not having a problem getting it done, but we're all staying there longer than we're supposed to be staying there, longer than they're getting paid for. I feel very strongly that these people, I mean, they are making it all happen down there. They should be able to make a living, and this will help them make a nice living there, doing what they're doing. That's important. That's important.
I think this is one of those examples that we've talked about so many times. Everyone's got a good reason. It's obviously, this service is a very good service, and we want to have, the customers are the citizens, so we've got to make a decision. Is this where we want to spend the money? And is this where we get a good bang for the buck? And I don't know, but at $19 an hour, if we give an extra $76 a week, seems like we get a good benefit, but
What are the retail shops that were in here?
Oh, we just take them shopping. They go to, we used
All right, so we
to,
don't have retail shops that we make money off of. Got it. That's what I was confused about. Thanks.
It sounds like a losing proposition. I don't want to get in that business.
Well, we could ask for the people that we do bring and then purchase something from a vendor. We could ask for money from them. I mean, that's what Amazon does every day.
Yeah,
I'm not saying you need to do that. I'm just saying we could. I didn't say you had to.
duly noted.
the total increase in salary budget, not including the benefits for those two people, which is the next question, is 21,000
Annual.
Which is
annually.
not a,
Total for the whole.
not a
group.
large percentage of the town budget.
Yes.
And for such a huge
It might be
service.
And,
Well-
and as I'm
Actually, the
looking,
benefits may be, the benefits could be more than, probably double that.
at least, if,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
But as I'm looking at the numbers you provided, the difference in check-ins between simply 2022 and 2023 is like,
it's amazing.
it's like 300%
Yes,
more,
right.
which explains a large part why you guys are working overtime.
Right, and
not getting-
that's not the, we had a little snowstorm and I
Yeah.
was at somebody's house on Vernon Street, clearing her path so she could get Meals on Wheels and dropping my kid off to shovel out somebody else, and
We could probably
told
spend
you.
this entire meeting cataloging the benefits of the
Yes.
Council on Aging. Cooling centers, warming centers, calls at after hours to come help, Medicare, Medicaid. Oh, we have a senior that needs something very specific in town and it's a Sunday. So, I mean, like, that shouldn't be
Yeah.
lost on any of the people watching this meeting.
Yeah,
And what percentage of the population is eligible to go to the senior center?
55 plus, so.
A lot more
Right
people than you
now-
think.
Yeah,
55 plus.
probably.
We changed it.
55 plus
I
age.
think
We changed it, so
You
60
told
I
me
don't
is
think that's
Massachusetts.
not the
How many are there?
percentage of
4,000?
the,
No, that-
That's over 60, so
Although
the
it's getting there.
population in Abington
So
is
it's at least-
4125, I
yeah.
believe,
All
over
right, so it's
60.
so we're
About 25% of the
overall is
population, this serves.
17 or 18,000.
Yeah.
17,000 plus or minus.
So it's about a quarter of the population of the town.
I don't have any.
And growing.
It's the
Yeah, I'm
benefits that kill me, but that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
we do
and-
carry benefits as we talk about every year for additional positions and
Yeah.
hires, so it's, and again, as you say, this is a very worthwhile
Yeah.
place to put money if we're gonna put it anywhere.
I'm sorry, Amy, I have one other question, forgive me. The ads are a no-brainer to me, if I'm being completely frank. But the laptops and the Wi-Fi in the media room, does Wayne maintain that for you, or are you?
No, so we had him set them up and firewall them because they were in, but we do the upkeep, we warranted all of them. There is something specific with having technology, he has to be involved with it, but we bought all of with the money that was endowed from Lois Kelly, we got all of the spyware, the malware, all of that was purchased separately. We just asked Wayne to make sure that we were in compliance.
And
with-
like, in case of emergency, you can break glass and give them a call.
Yes.
I got you.
Do any of the donations you get go to cover any of this, or is that extra?
So not the donations, the grants, yes,
Yeah.
but the donations, we have a gift account,
Okay.
but we use that for everything. We use
Okay.
it for, we use it all the time. We also, just while we're chatting about the senior center, we actually stopped renting the building January 1st. No more building rentals, we weren't making any money, so now it'll strictly be used for senior events, and
We weren't making money?
We weren't making any money, Greg.
not in building rentals.
How? Like, how weren't we making money?
How were we not
Yeah,
making money?
yeah.
Everybody that used the building wanted to bring a donation of canned goods because that's what somebody else was told. When we told them they had to pay for the building, they were like, well, I was told if you're a nonprofit in Abington, you don't have to pay for the building. Why did they not pay for the building and we have to? So there were a lot of groups that were coming in and the building was trashed, our things went missing. So,
These are from just Abington residents.
everybody, no, it was it was everyone. There was just, they started renting it because there wasn't any money a decade ago or 12 years ago, 13 years ago. So they did it to start raising money and then somehow they stopped.
What if we were to come up with rules?
I tried. I made a contract, I sent it along to the town manager, we tried, but then it was somebody who had a kid that was having a bridging ceremony and somebody else's kid didn't have to pay, so why does my kid have to pay? Well, that kid's family was a department head and, you know, it just,
And
it's
Even at the point. of-
blurred, they were,
You know, if we were to decide that it was something that the town wanted to do, we wouldn't be doing it to make money anyways. It would just merely be to cover the cost and the expense of doing it. So I don't think that it's something.
So it wouldn't be,
especially right
it wouldn't be
now.
making, it wouldn't, we wouldn't want to make money to cover, not even this cost, but
It'd
to
be very
send these guys
difficult.
to the Encore once a year. I'm being serious.
it was, I mean,
Like,
it
that's-
definitely.
It's not worth
No.
it.
It's not, no, because it wasn't even that type of rental. It was intermittent, but we had small groups that were coming in, you know, every Monday night, every Wednesday night, alternating
What are we
Thursdays
talking,
and
how much money
Fridays.
roughly every year, just average?
Since, in this last year, we had a quilting group that rented it for 3 days that paid $400, I think, for all 3 days, morning to night. But the building was trashed. The
After
custodian,
quilting?
yeah, they have food, they have
Unbelievable.
concession.
I gotta sign up to a quilting group.
I mean, it's just general wear and tear. and-
Yeah,
And
sure.
you don't have the staff or the capacity. That's not, just
Yeah, if it's not- if
what
it's-
they're in the business to do.
Yeah.
I think it's let them do what they're in the business to do.
Yeah.
And they do it very well.
I feel bad, I mean, meaning like I wish we could make money off it. Stinks.
What else do we have?
Is there a plan to address the chairs, or is that just one of those things that we're gonna hope for grant money, or?
You said you were applying for a grant?
No, not for the
No?
chairs. That was
Okay,
just something
sorry.
that
We'll probably end up with.
probably be a
capital.
larger expense,
Okay.
so.
We're already pursuing other, Andrew's looked at a few options for us, and we're. we'll
Pursuing
end up-
alternate funding sources.
And we'll-
Gotcha.
Yeah, well, that and trying to find some good value chairs that'll meet the needs. But yeah, well, we haven't finished up the capital plan yet. We're waiting to see what our state numbers are gonna be like, and then we'll make some decisions from there.
See how much it snows.
But I see chairs in their future, yes.
I should.
The no arms thing, I never noticed,
That
and that's
is,
wild.
that is a concern.
It's-
Speaking as
it's
someone
actually,
who
yeah.
That's a
at
safety
least
hat.
Well,
partially
we have
takes
to
care
move
of
chairs
3
from other parts of
older
the building
parents.
for 8 or 10 of the consumers that come in for lunch because
It's
they
a
can't
lot.
get in and out of the chairs. They can't get up, so.
Would there be a reason?
For-
Would there be a reason for no chair, for no arms on the chair? Like,
Well,
when
I'm
somebody
sure the
bought 'em, was there a
chairs.
reason?
Well, it was a church initially,
Oh,
so I'm
alright, yeah.
sure they came along with the building. That's
They
how
were
long they've
just
been
like
there.
stacked chairs.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
just stackable chairs.
I'm sure they're great for like chair yoga and like the courses, but they're probably not great for sitting and getting up out of if you
Right.
have
Yeah,
mobility issues.
Yep.
and they're not antimicrobial, they're fabric, they're not sanitary, they're just old and they've had it. So we're looking for that type of material, like an antimicrobial material.
Was there anything in the, excuse me, in the expense portion of the budget that you wanted to highlight that was significantly?
No, we
Any
just.
significant change?
No,
I
we-
didn't see anything that stood
No,
out.
we added a little bit more to the dues and fees, our MCOA. dues went up to $1,000 a year. We added a little bit more to the repair, because the building is getting a little bit older, and, you know, we're running into things
And you got quilters coming in.
intermittently. We got those quilters coming in, so, they're not the only people that trash the building, but anyway, so just, yeah, that's basically, we kind of moved a couple of things around, but that's basically all the same.
Anyone else? Chris? No. Greg, any other money-making opportunities for the senior center?
No.
We could sell quilted Magellan
I was just gonna
hats.
say, couldn't they keep them there?
You need blankets for the Jets?
We do, Bob.
All right, Amy, anything else for us?
No, I think that's it.
All right, we appreciate you coming and all of the work that you're doing.
Thank
It's,
you.
Thank you.
Really
Thanks.
fantastic
And
stuff
please
to
share that with
hear.
your staff too, please.
Yes,
Please share that with the staff too.
yeah.
I will.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, they're the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. Next, we have our treasurer collector, Lindsay.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm well, how are you?
Doing well. Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Welcome
I'm
back.
Lindsay Grasso, the treasurer collector. Start off with my mission statement. The mission of the treasurer collector's office is to serve all Abington taxpayers, business owners, and town employees in the most efficient and effective manner possible. We will conduct our activities with a high degree of integrity and professionalism at all times. Some notable achievements this year was I piloted the improved transactional system application within Vadar. Vadar is one of our softwares that we use in town. Pretty much every department utilizes it. This particular application, Abington was able to pilot us to serve as more of an auditing tool. So there are sorting features that we didn't have before. There's more types of lookups that we weren't able to do before, which is extremely helpful when you're looking for those pennies.
Yeah.
And that's for all of Massachusetts as well. So it wasn't just Abington, it was for
Nice.
all of Vadar. In addition to that, we cleaned up all town and school benefits and implemented a collection system. That was something that I stood before you last year and desperately wanted and needed. And this, I'm happy to say that we did complete that. It wasn't something that we were able to outsource, unfortunately, due to the cost of a collection system. It was more so kind of reinventing the wheel of Excel, doing more VLOOKUPs, really kind of branching out and doing it in a way where we can upload Plymouth County retirement reports, Mass teachers' reports, and all of our payroll reports into one type of Excel spreadsheet. And in doing so, brings me to my next, we completed or created an OPEB tracking. So the OPEB is pretty extensive in their reporting. In balancing the benefits, it was just kind of easier to do both at the same time. So when we're doing our OPEB tracking now, it's a matter of kind of hitting print. So we take all those reports and we can get those totals and submit them to the actuaries. So we're not having to look for a lot of stuff, hopefully in the future.
Do you know what
that
our, I
sounds
mean,
better.
obviously you do know, but what's our current OPEB total liability right now?
I actually just brought the report and I can go over that after, if you don't
Okay,
mind.
great, thank you.
Of course. Another thing that we completed, fiscal year '23, was the, I feel as though it was the year of borrowing. So I did complete the fiscal year '22 capital borrowing. We did a State House issuance notes. We finalized and closed on the sewer force main as well. And we all obviously were prepping for our town meeting for the Firehouse DPW project. Some of the goals that I would like to see within the department is to initialize a new payroll company with HR capabilities and an employee app. Currently, the payroll system that we have, it's DOS-based. You have to know how to do payroll. It doesn't walk you through it. It doesn't give you necessarily if there's an error, but it is DOS-based. Create a report. It's a matter of hitting F5, F7, enter, enter. So it's pretty old. We do receive wonderful service from the company, but it is something that in the near future is going to be needed for an upgrade. With the payroll company that I'm looking at, I've already received three different quotes, and I've already met with several different companies. I've already called other municipalities. This particular payroll company is pretty much the leader of payroll companies within towns. It does give us the capability of some HR capabilities as well. Employees will be able to access their union contracts. They can upload their schooling, their different certifications. It will send them a notification when that certification has come to expiration. In addition to that, we are being DOS-based. It's very paper. With paper can come errors. So this way, employees can it does have the capabilities to employees can enter in their own time. That will in turn go to a department head for approval, and in turn go to our department to cut checks. So that's something that is very much needed. And also an employee app. We do receive a lot of phone calls. Can you reprint my paycheck or my W-2? And this way, employees will have that right at their fingertips on their app.
Out of curiosity,
Of course.
What app, what company?
Harper's.
Okay.
And what's the increase going to be for moving on to a new company?
That is in my budget. It is not significant.
Okay.
The current company that we have, they did increase our current fee, so there's only a couple $1,000s of an increase for this.
No, it's not bad.
Yeah.
And then I think last year we talked about some people still getting paper checks. That's a function of the union contract, right? Are we trying to rework that, or?
When COVID came, and Marty can attest to this, I tried to implement these paper timesheets that we currently have to Excel. So a lot of the departments have since moved to Excel. And I also sent direct deposit. So most of our employees are on a direct deposit. There are some stipend checks that are still a paper check.
Okay.
And there's a couple people, very, very few, that are still receiving a paper check.
But it sounds like the new payroll system, you're going to go online and enter it all and approved online, so no more paper, no more Excel? Like
That's the hope, yes.
Okay.
I mean, there's certainly, we can still honor any employee who would request to have a paper check for whatever circumstance. We can still honor that, of course.
DOS, Excel, and paper checks, real cutting-edge 1992 technology.
That's how it is right now.
Thinking back to when the library came in, because the HVAC system that was running on a Windows 95 PC crapped out, and we had to replace it in the middle of the fiscal year. Suddenly, that doesn't seem as old.
Yes, it works, it's efficient. Like I said, we do receive incredible service. I love everybody there and their children and their families, but it is certainly a need that the town needs. So that's the first thing that I would like to accomplish. And that actually I had already started last year. I had liked to start it at the end of a calendar year just because it's clean for tax purposes. It was working with the school department and vacations and so forth. We've decided to wait till the end of the fiscal year. The next one is to streamline the check transactions and automated processing, relieving a lot of manual data entry and improve collection. This was something that I also wanted last year, working closely with Vadar. That is something that they were able to kind of make happen. There is a barcode that we can start to have printing on our tax bills. So there's only so much real estate on our tax bills right now, so that's kind of the problem. I've wanted to add a QR code, which we can pay for an insert. It's not overly expensive. I don't necessarily know how many people would use a QR code, but certainly a barcode to help, to help the collection within the town. And third, to finalize the $13 million with the Clean Water Trust and start the issuance for the $38.5 million for the Firehouse DPW project. So those are things that we already have underway. We have already met with the S&P for another bond issuance last year. So all of our ducks in a row and ready to go when we're ready to go.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Of course.
So do you have to do with the taxes getting sent out?
Do I have to do the tax getting?
The taxes getting sent out and then we pay them. That's your.
The tax bills?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? So they get sent out. I see them, or I don't see them. My wife sees them. She goes online to do it. They're not on there.
Correct.
How is that possible?
It could have had to do with the date.
It happens
So-
every time.
Okay.
So whenever she gets them in the mail, they're never online. Is that not like the reason I ask isn't saying you're doing anything wrong. Is that not something that's like, they talk to each other or what?
They don't.
So
no,
somebody
they
manually has to
just-
put this in?
Yes, it's two separate systems. So the current system that we use for our collection is Vadar, and the POS system that we use is Unibank or Unipay.
Yeah.
So it's somebody that would have to manually upload it. So all of the files I send over to Unibank, and that gets uploaded. They upload it. And then the PDFs actually get sent from our billing company. So there's a lot involved when it comes to uploading.
And we can't bring that all in-house and under one or
I
maybe
wish we
two
could.
software,
It is.
nothing?
It is something that I requested of Vadar, and it is actually coming down the pipeline. I was recently at a meeting this past June to have Vadar basically have their own POS system, so it's one-stop shopping. So it is something that is coming down the pipeline, but not currently.
Thank
I
you.
will say this year was an improvement because about 3 days or 4 days after, I got an email or a text or something saying, oh, the bill's online now, you can pay it, which helped because I knew that was happening and sometimes I forget. You know, I throw the bill over here and this
Yeah.
just reminded me, oh, you gotta pay that.
That is something that I did add this year, was the email and text for collection, that if the taxpayer would have to sign up for it or to receive, that type of communication. But if you're online, then you should, if you've opted in.
I didn't know that I signed up.
Well, I'm glad it worked.
I liked it.
I'm glad it worked. So that's really good. And then obviously to continue to uphold excellent customer service while improving our current standards.
And by the way, do we still pay money for this DOS system?
Oh, yes.
I'm just taking a guess that that's probably not good.
No, it's an effective system. I mean, it works. Like I said, we've received wonderful service. They do all of our filings. There's nothing particularly wrong with it. It is older, and there is other capabilities that we can certainly add to it.
Updating these systems makes them more efficient and easier for you to handle. Does it also add a level of security that we don't have now?
So as far as the level of security, that
Or does
is,
it actually reduce security because nobody's trying to hack in the DOS system?
that's
I don't think
one,
anybody was born, a hacker currently was born when DOS was around, so I think we're safe.
they had a
I think
flip
you'd be
phone.
surprised on that.
I would, that was
Days of the
hyperbolic.
Beepers. That is something that I think I hopefully have thought of everything with a new payroll company and the software. They have to have a certain type of firewall. So it is something that I had already talked to Wayne regarding. And they also have to be compliant. So it's not something that.
And we're talking operas, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
They're,
So we're probably better off with the new system than we were with the old,
I would suggest.
from a
we would be.
security standpoint. That answers the question.
Some of the highlights that I have for this year is I am requesting some part-time assistance within the department. It's been requested in the past before, and it is certainly a need within our department. We're seeing all the taxpayers, real estate, personal property, all of our excise tax, and certainly people do play online. They go through our lockbox. But even, we certainly see all of our employees as well for benefits. We're only a department of 4. Within our department, I'm obviously treasurer collector. I am an assistant treasurer collector. We handle all the benefits and payroll within our department as well. And I have a collector who is at both windows. In addition to that, we handle half of the accounts payable, so we issue all of the vendor checks in town. So we're stuffing all the envelopes with invoices. and I also run all the commitments for all of the billing. So there's times that there's a line at the drive up, there's a line at the window, and the phone lines are constantly going. So there's definitely a need within our department. This particular payroll, this particular part-time person, I like to have to more as a collector and also administrative duties, pretty much answering phones. The lockbox that we have outside here of Town Hall, if someone mails in a payment or they have their check, or we actually have to print the backup for that, because if there's interest calculated, every single check that comes in, we have to look up their payment and print it. So it's very time consuming to have it be accurate. It could be pennies, and we still have to print it.
Are the lines seasonal?
I'm sorry?
Are the lines seasonal?
Are the lines seasonal? Not necessarily. I mean, the lines, obviously, we're coming up on our February 1st deadline, and it can be very busy that day, but throughout the whole year, there's different commitments for excise tax. This particular, I'm on commitment number 8. So with those commitments, as the year increases, as the year moves on, the commitments certainly decrease, but there's always a need.
Did we put a nice chart up on the website for that too? When the commitments are?
I think we were supposed to, but I don't think anything came to
It hasn't
fruition.
done it.
Yeah, I know that.
I know Samantha was working on it.
Samantha was
so
working
we'll
on it.
Follow through and get that.
How are we doing so far this year in terms of collections with what we were projecting?
Fiscal year '23, for collection, I was at a 98% for collection rate.
But in terms of, for this budget, like where do we stand in terms of the revenue and so far compared to what we're expecting?
We just passed the halfway point for the
Yeah.
fiscal year. Do we have a,
If you look on the accounting website, I do a monthly report at the beginning of every month, so that has both revenues and expenditures. If you want to pull it up now, or.
No.
And actually, everything was trending right where we would expect it to be.
Okay.
Last time I checked it.
It's, just go on the accounting website, you can look at the report.
Okay. Thank you.
Lindsay, I'm sorry, is 98% like, is that considered like outstanding?
I
or-
think so. I mean,
Okay.
I don't think we could ever be, I would love for it to be perfect. If everyone paid their tax bills, that would
Mhm,
make
yep,
my
yep.
job significantly easier.
Let's not sacrifice great chasing perfect.
But yes, 98% is very well. Very good. Some other highlights is Plymouth County Retirement. So Plymouth County Retirement, and I'll get to that kind of in the next couple slides. Our budget for fiscal year '25 is increased about $326,000. We are trying to maintain that fully funded data for fiscal year '29. In order to maintain that date, fiscal year '25 is kind of being referred to as a smooth-out year, where we are taking a hit of 8.8% of an increase. So we'll get to those numbers on the next slide.
What's the usual percentage?
About 7%.
Okay.
That include, we had the hit for the COLA as well.
We had the hit for the COLA as well.
For the retirees.
And you said we'd be fully funded by what, 20?
Fiscal year '29.
29?
It was voted on at an advisory meeting. It could have been extended to fiscal year '30.
Okay.
It was chosen to kind of smooth it out this year, if you will.
But isn't there some, Paul always alluded to, there was a disagreement between the county and the state in terms of
I
when
think
we
Correct.
have maturity?
kind of thought it could be longer or more, but,
Prim and the county retirement board or
Yeah.
something like that?
I'm assuming some pretty aggressive interest rate in that.
I'll let Andrew answer that.
It could be a couple more years. It's not 29, but maybe 32.
Okay.
It all depends on the rate of return.
Just because he's not here, I'll say, so Paul was kind of right.
No, we're not saying that at all.
All right, what was it?
We're just
There's
saying
a-
it could be.
there's a possibility.
There's a possibility that.
Well,
that
if-
Paul was
if-
right. We'll say Paul's not wrong, but he's not
But
necessarily.
if what Chris is saying is correct, which is we're assuming a pretty high interest rate, which is not going to continue forever, right? Or is it?
It's not the town's assumption, it's Plymouth County's assumption.
Yeah, 100%. I'm not saying we're doing it. I'm just saying two different people are using two different formulas.
Yeah.
And the next highlight is a 7% increase on health insurance. Last year, there was also a 7% increase on health insurance. I think we came in at 5.5%. But obviously, we try to assume that for new employees, people that are kind of coming on, or if there's an increase in hours, that become benefit eligible, we try to account for as well.
Is this including all the people that have been asked for, or are you just guessing here?
It's a projection.
Okay, so you're just, I don't, when I say just guessing, I mean, you're using an educated approach to projecting.
Correct.
But you haven't sort of itemized the two people that we've talked about for the Council on Aging. They haven't been added.
Correct.
Well, we
For the
do
budget
tend to
purpose.
have a extra 4 bodies in there.
Oh, okay.
Assuming new hires.
Yeah,
Because we
not
never
a
know.
specific one, but you've assumed a certain number of new hires.
Correct.
And the calculation was based on what was increased last year, and I'm not certain, but of the exact number, but I believe it was about 36 of an increase. But again, that was people falling off and coming on, so it's not 36 new employees, not 36 new eligible employees.
But you've all got together and sort of come up with a
Of
number.
course.
Yeah, all right. That's the right answer I like.
Do you have the figures yet on what the FY '24 actuals are? We're still in '24.
FY '24 actuals
Yeah.
for the health insurance?
Yeah,
Well, we're
it
still
was
in
still,
it.
yeah, I was just thinking that, as I said that, yeah. Okay, never mind. So FY '23, we're about 150 grand less than we projected.
We are. The other thing that's helping as well is everything is the collection system that we have. So our over-the-counters, we have several employees that pay over-the-counter as well. So having everything current and up to date, my bills were around $700,000 a month, and this particular month was $680. So it's certainly to stay on top of it. Obviously, the numbers are lower. But like I said, that's something that, it's pretty consistent at the 7%. Nice little buffer.
We're not self-insured anymore, right? We're in a group with like 3 or 4 other towns or something?
No, it's a lot more towns.
Yeah, we have a lot
Okay.
more towns now with
Yeah.
Mass Strategic Health Group.
Okay.
And it actually seems to be growing.
Hmm.
There's a lot of other communities that are seeing this as a good alternative.
There's not a lot of options either. So
Mhm.
there's GIC, there's not many options. So Mass Strategic Health Group is appealing.
Okay.
Yeah, I can go over it. We have unless you want to go over it, Andrew. We have our revenues. Some of these Andrew can speak to a little bit more than I can. So our municipal lien certificates, for '23, we're seeing a little bit of a decrease at MLCs. And I think the reason for the decrease is more so less people are purchasing and refinancing. It's pretty, it is what it is. People are holding on to their properties. Some of them, anyway. That brings me to a couple more line items.
You're saying that was the case for '23 as opposed to other years?
Yes,
Yeah.
and a lot of it some of the numbers are kind of skewed too because of COVID. So when we had COVID, nobody was refinancing or purchasing. Then there was a lot of incentives with COVID where people didn't necessarily have to pay their mortgage. Things were deferred. So we are starting to kind of see a lot of that kind of come to light as well. Let's see, we have fines, nothing going on there. Interest and deposits, we have about a 300% increase in interest, which is fantastic. With the interest rates being so high on the treasury side, it's something that we're seeing a significant increase in, which is wonderful. Cannabis and marijuana, cannabis tax and also the marijuana impact fee, that fiscal year '23 was an increase. I'm not certain as to fiscal year '24. Andrew can speak a little bit more to that,
Hopefully.
That was-
hopefully.
Is the impact fee going away under that new legislation? Do we have to justify it, or?
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to, it has to be related to actual incurred expenses that can be proven to be a result of that business operation.
So we should not expect those next year?
You should expect the excise tax, but not the impact fee.
Okay. So that's significant. I mean, that's
It is.
286, yeah. All right.
Why would it go away?
The Cannabis Control Commission recently redid their regulations, and they made it retroactive to all existing community host agreements, and the regulations are very strict on impact fees and what you can consider an impact and how you can charge. It has to be directly related, like, you know, if I had some sort of legal fee that was, you know, use town council for some sort of issue with a particular company, then I could charge them for that, and I would and will. But other than that, it's just, you know, the way they originally read it was 3% of the profits of the sales, period. You know, you were supposed to, in our agreement said, you know, it was fairly difficult, if not impossible, to decide, you know, what was an actual impact and what wasn't. But that, none of that holds up with the new Cannabis Control Commission regulations, so it seems like it's going away.
We didn't build it into the budget, though. It would just go to free cash, so it's not a huge impact. It is inconvenient.
How many of these things are open?
One.
So still one after we voted for 5?
Well, there
Those
are,
are good waste of
there
time,
are
no?
3 that are in limbo because of the Cannabis Control Commission right now. 2 of them are actually physically ready to open their doors and have been for many months now, but they can't
gonna
get
say,
the
the one
Cannabis
on-
Control Commission to get down and do their final inspections.
The one where Wayne Sleep Shop used to be,
That one's done,
looks like it's,
beautiful.
I thought
Guys
that was
ready.
actually open.
I
when
did
drove
too.
by.
Nope, there's one there, there's one in the old bus depot building behind where all the school buses are on 18. Again, they've been ready, their shop is done, clean, they're looking to be open. They're just in limbo waiting. And then the 4th one is under construction. They seem to think that they'll be ready within a few months, but
but the commission might not be.
yeah, I've not seen, not seen that be the case.
And are we expecting more when we get to 5?
I think you'll see more excise tax, yes. Significantly more? I don't know. I mean, I think that the market's fairly saturated, but I would expect we will see more.
10%, 20%, 5%? I'm not gonna hold
Maybe
you to it.
10%,
Okay.
maybe.
The next line is the motor vehicle tax. So there was a slight decrease, well, the slight decrease there. A lot of people holding onto their vehicles, seeing less newer vehicles, more used vehicles.
Really?
Did we skip the meals tax?
Yes, we did.
Directly
I
proportional.
was
Yeah.
gonna say, meals tax looks pretty steady.
Pretty steady. Tax titles, deferrals and tax title revenue. There's a lot of people that we have on payment plans, hoping that, hopefully they'll stick to it. We can recoup some of those, but
Sorry, I'm confused about the motor vehicle tax. What am I not getting there? The numbers on the right-hand side are all lower, so it'd be less
Make-
2014?
It's make by, like,
Right.
the
It's-
schedule, it's
So
by
it'll be less
year of the car.
2014s, less 2015s, less,
Correct.
so they're not holding on to cars.
No,
Or am I missing something?
There's less new
You go
cars.
by
Less
year
new
by year,
cars.
so the bill was issued in 2014 and not paid till 2023, right?
A motor, you can wait 10 years to pay a motor vehicle tax? I want to,
It's year on year.
That's the year of
The
the,
year of the car. So if you look
Right,
in
it's a year.
FY 2020 cars was 1.9 million. In 21 model cars was 2.1 million, then 1.9, then 1.8 essentially.
yeah,
So
because what I'm saying
the
is,
number of new cars, like the number of excise tax that we're getting off of brand new cars has decreased for the last few years.
but people aren't holding on to their cars either.
They're
Again,
not-
at
they're
least
not
that's
buying-
what that thing
They're
says.
not buying new cars.
The bill goes down every year that you
Yeah.
have as the car ages, right?
after 5 years, it stays the same.
Oh, okay.
What am I not getting? You said people aren't buying new cars.
Right,
But
so
they're
we're,
not but they're not buying, they're not holding on to their cars either.
they're holding on to their older vehicles, so they
Compared to
are,
22?
The older the car is, the less we get in excise.
No, I get 100%. I'm just, literally just
Why is
looking
it
at
dropping
numbers.
so dramatically?
Huh?
Why is it dropping? Is
That's
the
what I'm saying,
column
like,
on
it's
the
not,
left?
I'm not saying you're, the numbers just aren't adding up in my head.
So I think
It's-
basically focus on the totals.
Yeah.
Can you explain what the column means on the left side?
on the account name.
The account name, yeah.
Yeah.
So the motor vehicle, that's the tax year. So when someone makes,
That's the tax year, not the
Yes,
car year.
not the
That's
car
tax-
year.
So the bill was issued in 2017 and not paid until 2023 for some reason.
correct, so if they're in tax year 2014, fiscal year 2014, there was a bill from fiscal year 2014 and they just paid it now.
Oh,
So that's what you're seeing as
You
far as.
can do that?
I hope not.
Not legally.
At that point, what happens is they're flagged at the
So you
registry.
don't want to get pulled over if you're doing that.
Yeah, so they're
Oh,
flagged at the registry and they've paid our deputy collector, so now they have paid us.
Is there interest associated with that?
Absolutely, of course.
Okay.
And penalties.
There's considerable amount of fees.
all right, now that makes way more sense. Thank you.
Of course.
I'm sorry, what were the tax deferrals and tax title revenue?
Tax deferral and tax title revenue, so that's, tax titles that were paid off.
Okay. And is your department the one, do we usually have legal fees built in for when somebody doesn't?
We do, yes. We have legal fees built into the tax title.
Okay, that's where it is. Okay.
That's the revenue piece. So the actual fee itself is something that I've included in the budget. The next page with the salaries, the only significant thing here, you'll see is the new collection clerk that I've added, so that's a 19.5-hour position. I did do my own survey as far as there was another municipal town within Plymouth County that was hiring a similar position for this particular rate, so I kind of based it off that. I did a little research as far as what another admin would be, and that's the hourly rate that I came up with. As
What
far-
town?
I'm sorry?
What town?
Halifax.
Halifax, and that was for the
Collection clerk.
collection clerk, thanks.
Myself as treasurer collector, there's a 2% increase. As far as a stipend concerned, that's not necessarily a stipend, it's more so a vacation buyback. Assistant treasurer collector, again, a 2% increase. Chief bookkeeper clerk, that is a step increase within the clerical union contract. Their stipends, I've maxed out any possible, if they do receive $50 on if there's a holiday that falls on a Friday.
All right.
That's okay. They also receive a sick leave incentive. So if they are eligible for that sick leave incentive, I've included it. Our payroll benefits person also is a step increase within the clerical union contract, and that hers is a little bit higher because she does not carry health insurance through the town. They would be eligible for a $1,000 health insurance stipend. And the new employee as well at 19.5 hours.
Can I just go back to the cars? Across the country, there was a 12.3% increase in new car sales in 2023. Your numbers are your numbers, but it just seems odd that ours went down so much when new car sales are up so much. But are we that different? Yeah?
Maybe they're not just paying the tax. I mean, I didn't even know that was a possibility. I thought you had to pay the tax, like meaning like when you bought the car or whatever.
Yeah, when you purchase the vehicle, it also has to be, they have to purchase the vehicle by the first of the year as well. So they'd have to buy that vehicle, like I said, by January 1st in order for it to hit our billing cycle in March. So if they buy a car within the calendar year of 2023, we're not seeing that till the next calendar year.
Maybe that's part of the
You get a
missing
bill,
2%.
you get an excise, don't you issue excise bills some other time?
We do, yep,
Yeah,
so they
fine.
do receive it
So
throughout
it
the,
won't be
but
the
it's
March,
not,
but it'll be,
it's prorated,
Yeah,
so they're
it's
not
prorated.
receiving their bill for the full
I
calendar
used to work
year.
in the
Couple of
collector's
months.
office in Brockton many decades ago.
But it could only be for a couple of months that we're receiving
Right,
those
yeah,
ones,
it's for however long you have the car, and it's not immediate.
Right.
For fiscal '24, I think I counted about 2.6 million in commitments. So you might not collect that, but at least it's being committed.
Okay. So it may be just a lag.
Now the budget. So the first section, obviously, is salaries, which we had just gone over. Rentals and postage meter. I did 5,000. I did 5,000 last year as well. The postage meter that we currently have, we do need to upgrade. We were able to keep it for another year, but this end of this calendar year, unfortunately, we're going to have to switch over to a new system. What's happening is the automated meters will come with a safety ink. So that ink is more expensive, obviously, and the machine for the ink is more expensive. Education and training, just slightly higher, more courses that I'm taking, nothing significant. Purchase services, that is the increase that you see with the payroll company. So that wasn't just the DOS-based company that we're paying for now. That also increased, but it is pretty comparable to the new payroll company. The next item is the postage. I did increase that. Obviously, postage is continuously increasing, but also fiscal year 25 is an election year. So I took that into consideration as well. Office supplies, I did increase office supplies, more so just because I'm looking over what I've spent, and it's just going up. My normal cartridges that we're printing checks on has gone from $150 to almost $200. So it's increasing, I feel like, daily sometimes. The next line item, travel, same thing, just slight increase. Dues and fees, that's only a $200 increase. I would like to subscribe to Veribank, which is a company who they handle bank safety ratings, to keep track of all the banks. The next one down is the tax.
Wait, say that one more time?
Veribank, it's a.
They track what?
The bank ratings,
For what?
all banks.
No, but why do we need that?
So with our banks, we currently all of our funds are insured through the FDIC. They also carry DIF. But coming down the pipeline, a lot of the banks are becoming Essentially, their depositories are becoming too large. DIF does not insure them to a certain degree, and InterFi has to be, the deposits would be held with InterFi. InterFi is basically dispersing funds within other banks, not banks that we currently hold, but with other banks. So when you have InterFi, maybe you might have 10 other banks and you're using their insurance as opposed to the bank that currently holds the deposits. And it's just a way to keep track of all of the banks to make sure that they're all compliant.
Where is that on the line item here?
It's just a $200 subscription
So it's
increase.
literally just somebody's tracking these banks but we have no protection.
Oh, no, all of
It's just
all of our-
telling you that this bank's not doing good if we had
Correct.
our money there.
Correct.
Couldn't we just, like, diversify that anyway, today?
It is diversified.
So we have a bunch of different banks,
Absolutely, yes.
still too much money.
It's for the $200?
No, I'm talking about it's not enough to keep us safe, FDIC insured, whatever.
It's a subscription that they analyze banks to make sure they're still compliant and their bank ratings are, we want to do business with banks that
Yep.
are compliant.
I got you, thanks.
How many different banks did you tell me today that we had to?
How many, we have 83 accounts, and I think we have.
It's a lot to track.
I'm at about either 12 or 15 banks. And with this new depository insurance, this company tracks other banks. So if we are forced to go into an InterFi-based protection, then these other banks that we're having to diversify our funds with for insurance purposes, we'll keep track of them as well. The next line item is tax foreclosure. You'll see an increase there. The Plymouth County Registry of Deeds has increased their fees pretty significantly. I mean, it was a couple $100, now it's about $650. So that's a considerable amount of money. The next part that we all love is debt. So for the maturing principal, I have $3,251,969. You'll see a decrease here, and that is more so because of last year, comparing to last year. Last year, there was a projection to have the firehouse and a payment was included. It's something that we didn't have to utilize, which is good. Also included is the interest. You'll see an increase this year with the interest. I did a projection we did a State House note for the firehouse design for $766,000. So there is interest included for that. We did a possible bond issuance for the firehouse and DPW project too. So if that came due in fiscal year '25, then we would have the interest available. I also did a projection for the interest, if we did another firehouse design borrowing. So that's what that is included in there. Next one down is retirement. So this is our Plymouth County, this is our 8.8% increase that we're seeing to the tune of about $326,000.
Can you go back to, why is the debt service admin fees down so much?
They go down every year. So as
Seems like a huge drop though, no? Or I guess maybe why was it so
Yeah,
large?
I brought the note schedule, I can take a look.
I don't know.
Looks like the budget was off.
It was like, yeah, it's like 3 or 4 grand, then it goes up to 40 and 50, and then it goes down to 2 grand.
25. So that has to do with some of our water bonds. So we had a couple water bonds that did not have the administration fee. And the administration fee that we incurred, I believe, was for the sewer force main project. We had to front some money for the administration fee for that particular fiscal year.
Okay. And then the interest on notes, did that move to a different account, or what's going on with that?
The interest on notes,
Interest cert of notes, it's right underneath the debt service admin fees.
It looks like we budgeted for it one year, but didn't incur it any year.
no. For fiscal year '25, nothing was budgeted for the debt service of notes. That was, I believe, an upfront cost that we had. I'm not certain as to what the bond issuance was, but I remember it being an upfront cost.
Okay.
But it never hit,
No.
no. You thought it was gonna hit?
Was it the sewer force main?
I believe it was the
It
sewer
must have been
force
for that
main.
kind of money.
Yeah, we had, there was we're now on our second and final disbursement, so I think that was what it was from. I can check though, I can pull the old ones. And again, for retirement, the significant increase of, not significant, but 8.5%. It's a big number. Unemployment, that has gone up. That is something that Andrew can speak of, but unemployment is also, has been reclassed with Maya.
Yeah, so previously we were paying unemployment ourselves, but last year Maya took it over and it was getting paid under the liability insurance line item instead of unemployment. So we'll fix that going forward. 156,000 was the cost estimate for that coverage.
You can pay unemployment just yourselves out of pocket. You don't have to contribute to like doesn't it come onto the checks and then the employer has to pay a certain amount or something? I
Well,
didn't-
we're like a direct pay.
Oh, really?
Like, we're on the hook for,
They were self-insured,
yeah.
Yeah. All right.
so that's why laying people off didn't do any good the
Unless you
first
do-
year.
Yeah, like, if you want to lay someone off, you have to lay like 3 people off to cover the cost, because we're paying anyways. So it's something that we want to avoid always at all costs.
The next line item down is health insurance. So again, it's a pretty 7% increase. Life insurance, it's staying the same. I don't see any increases in the future. And then also Medicare benefits, there's a slight increase there, obviously, if we have step increases, contractual increases, new employees, we have to account for that.
Is life insurance is that like we're paying a certain percentage for the employees? It seems like a ridiculously small amount of money.
It's just the basic coverage that we have for our employees, $5,000.
Okay.
The town pays.
Hmm.
I don't know what that would cover.
Not a lot.
Sprained ankle.
What do you say?
There's a
Tape.
warehouse in New Hampshire that sells coffins,
And that's all. Does anyone have any questions?
What was the OPEB? You said you were gonna come back to that?
I do, I brought it with me. Our liability went down this year. So fiscal year '23, we converted obviously our health insurance. So our Medicare, our retiree health insurance dropped significantly. I believe, and don't quote me on this, I believe it was around $397 a month for our retirees. We're at $290 now. So that was about a $17 million, this was a decreased liabilities by $17 million. So it was, and that was recognized fully in fiscal year '23. The discount rate was changed from 4.09 to 4.13, as well as,
How do we see that up there?
I don't have it.
Oh, sorry.
we just got this not that long ago. So this is pretty much hot off the press.
Hot off the press.
Hot off the press. So in the last OPEB reporting, which was July 1st of 2020 to June 30th of 2022, Our net OPEB liability was 74,405,000. It's been decreased to 65,646,000.
But we didn't do anything.
We didn't pay it, no.
No,
We
we
didn't.
didn't pay it down.
We did not
It
pay
was
that.
not decreased
So
because of payments made,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
decreased.
It was
But you said
decreased.
something about
Liability-
switching to Medicaid?
Yes,
No
What
less.
was
and
that?
that's the reason for the decrease, because we switched over from our old Blue Cross plan to the new HPI plan. So
Okay. well,
because of
that's a
that
good thing.
decrease, yes.
Yes.
In
okay. That's a
addition
good way
to
do
that,
it.
we had Medicare.
Yeah.
We had about 6 employees who were not Medicare eligible. That is significant cost for their town. So to switch them to Medicare and pay Medicare and their penalties is a savings for the town over the cost of the remainder of their,
Good.
yeah.
Yep, yeah.
Any other questions?
Marty, anything? Greg?
You're not anticipating paying anything
Into OPEB?
yeah.
We want to get onto some sort of a schedule with at least minimum payments until 2029, maybe, in which case when. which is-
The
retirement.
That's where Paul would come in and say,
Well,
that's not really gonna
Then
happen.
fine, 2030,
Then we're
2031,
gonna-
whatever the case may be,
When we start getting.
will significantly
Firehouse
accelerate
bills.
that. Unless we're told that we have to do something to accelerate it sooner,
Yeah.
which could always happen too.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be our hope, would be to, at some point, divert that.
The sooner you start.
Yes.
the better you are.
Yeah. Yeah, we have to, unfortunately, I mean, we have to catch up in retirement first, though. That's, I mean, you can see how much that is. It's
Yeah.
just,
So once we hit 20, whatever it is, 30, does that mean we don't have to pay into retirement anymore, or we're just paying like a smaller rate into
it'd be
retirement?
significantly less, because
Smaller.
we'll have caught up,
Mhm.
but we'll
Gotcha.
still have to pay in.
Pay into the, yeah, annual amount, all right.
But, I mean, dramatically,
I didn't know if it was, the interest at that point would be sort of like self-funding it, but no.
that would be awesome, but
Mm,
no, I
yeah.
don't think so. No, because we're always adding.
Hmm, okay.
That brings up a question in my head, it's a general question. Does that mean, even though a person, things like unemployment, people under 20 hours, we're covering them for unemployment too?
I would imagine we cover them to a certain extent for unemployment,
Yeah.
yes.
So in that case, adding hours to people is better than adding a person
Yeah,
for
then
unemployment.
bringing in a whole new,
Yeah.
yeah,
All right.
To the discussion we had with
yeah.
council on aging.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then to Marty's point though, is once you get over 20 and you're paying that, then everything,
right, yeah.
if 32 makes sense more than 29,
Yeah.
then it's short money at that point.
Yeah. Benefits or no benefits is the big,
Yeah, it's once you cross the threshold, but I
Factor
think,
there.
you know, certainly,
Yeah.
we
So
can see
moving
the
someone
value
from
in it here.
25 to 32 is better.
19, 20 is the number,
Two
so
people.
After 90.
19.5, we say, 19.
anything else for Lindsay?
No?
Lindsay, thank you so much for
Of
your
course.
time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course.
Lindsay?
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the rest of our agenda. Are there any liaison reports?
Nope.
I did not check correspondence. We'll check that next week.
Not seen any.
No minutes, right?
No minutes to go over yet. Future meetings. Next week, we are currently scheduled for veterans and the town accountant. I'm seeing on the board right now.
Maybe we'll add Lee in if she's
Town
available.
clerk will need to
Maybe
get
town clerk.
added in. DPW needs to get rescheduled.
Yeah, they requested a
Was it?
March date,
Okay.
which I think makes more sense. They want to get a little closer, knowing what their snow and ice deficits are going to be.
And then is
Understand.
that all schools? That's the Voc and Abington on the 28th?
This school department. not
So
South Shore.
Town school.
Do we
Just
know
town school?
when
Okay.
South Shore is gonna come in?
I haven't heard yet.
No, I haven't seen anything, but I'll reach out to Tom. Actually, I think they have a meeting coming up.
Do,
Do you get some time off in February?
I was gonna say, do we have anyone lined up for the, I know we usually take the
Vacation
school
weekend.
vacation week off, but we usually meet the other weeks in February.
That might be the 28th though, right?
I don't think so.
No, so
I think it's a week
I think
before.
it's
the 24th.
14th maybe?
Is it that early?
14th or the 24th?
The 24th
Yeah.
21st.
would make sense.
It's probably in my family calendar.
Oh, yeah, mine too.
My wife is on top of those things.
Yeah, President's
I am-
Day is the
I am
19th,
not.
so the 21st, do we have, yeah, you don't have anything scheduled.
Yep, February vacation is the 21st, so. So 14th and the 7th.
I got dinner reservations in the 14th.
Yeah, 14th is probably not a good night to do this, so let's,
Why not?
We got work to do.
I'm coming back just for that meeting.
Greg, I'm ruining Greg's life right now by making him available to his wife on the 14th.
You're ruining her life.
No, you got that covered. So,
I arranged my travel schedule to be here.
Did you?
so.
Speaking of travel schedule, I'm out of town next week, sorry.
So am I.
24th, 31st, we don't
I'll be in
know.
Brooklyn.
7th, we don't know.
I like it.
Right now, tentatively, 14th and 21st off. So, we'll find out about Leanne,
Yeah,
and
Yeah,
we'll see,
I'll check it
and
with the-
we'll
Check
see
who's gonna be
weekly
here
what's
because-
going on with the
Try
governor.
and find out, yeah, what our numbers are gonna be.
H1
Hopefully
is
we'll see
what?
those soon. She's at the MMA this week. My guess is her budget will come out next week. I don't imagine she would do it before addressing the MMA.
The fourth Wednesday in January, something weird like
Yeah,
that?
it's supposed to be.
Okay.
And then I'll find out what's going on with our minutes and our recording secretary.
Yes,
Not
that would be
really
good.
Sure what happened.
Can let her know that Paul stepped down from the board.
I
so.
will
Motion to
pass
adjourn?
that along.
I hear a motion. Is there a second motion? There is a second. Is there any discussion on the motion to adjourn? Without any, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Abstaining? We are adjourned. Thank you all. We will see you next week.